Hey everybody, welcome back to BigRedEDC. Well, we've got another Skeleton Bladeworks design from Tuya to check out. This one is the Caladan. Now, you guys remember, I recently had the Scaphoid in, another Tuya knife, skeleton design as well. And, you know, that one just had some things with it that it wasn't for me. Design wise, but it had some ergonomic issues that it just wasn't for me. I can tell you right now, the Caladan, not even remotely the same. I am really, really digging this knife. Now, there's a couple of things I will point out on it, for sure, just because, well, you know, in the handling and using, it's just things you see, but for the most part, I am really, really digging the Caladan. First off, I'll say that normally I'm not big on the frag pattern. Never have been. It's never really got my attention. Now, I think the reason why it's never really got my attention is because it's usually been on more futuristic style and designs. More kind of like the Scaphoid, if you will. More angular and stuff like that. Now, with the Caladan, we've got some nice curves and everything. And I'm like, all right, I can go with it. It's not something I seek out, you know, at all. But I like it more on the Caladan. And I think that has to do with the total aesthetic, blade shape, handle shape, so on and so forth. So just wanted to throw that out there real quick. But I really, really like the overall design of it. The frag pattern has been done very well for the most part. Titanium back spacer there, as you can see. You've got a titanium pocket clip. I did say for the most part because if we get in here, as you can see where the relief is for that, you see how that frag pattern kind of, it's a little sharp in there. These corners are these edges, I should say, are kind of sharp. They're not overly comfortable. And I mean, you know, I realize that when I'm just kind of feeling around. Everything else on the frag pattern is really, really good. But I think those could have been turned down a little bit, you know, chilled out, hit with possibly buffed real quick. And because you can see, it's just the beginning of the next fragment, and it leaves a ridge there. So, you know, that's one thing that I definitely did notice. We'll talk about it a little bit more later. And the other one is the pocket clip, and we'll definitely, you know me in pocket clips, so we'll talk about that. But overall, it's done other than what I pointed out already, it's pretty darn good. Now you've got the flipper for deployment. Oh, I love that blade. Action. Oh, smooth. Detent, right where I like it personally. The action is so super smooth. The overall build of this knife is done very well. Absolutely 100%. And that's, you know, never really anything I've ever had. Oops, I forgot to wipe the blade. I had some schmutz. My bad. Never had an issue with Tuya's overall construction. They've been done very well. But look at that blade. I don't know if you guys are into the drop points like I am. You've got a DLC coated blade. This is a version 2, by the way. DLC coated blade. Nice swedge. S90V blade steel. There you go. Skeleton Blade Works. There's his maker's mark right there. But the overall profile of this knife, oh yeah. I am really, really digging that. I mean, because you guys know that's right in my, it's what I like. The curves, the drop point, very, very much so. So, oh, we're definitely in it. Let's see, our choil is good. We've got some jimping up there. It's there. That's about all I can say. It's there. It's okay. It does a little bit. It doesn't do a lot as far as aiding the grip, but it does a little bit. Does a little bit. So let's see overall what we're getting as far as size. So overall, you're looking at about pretty darn close to an 8.5-inch knife. You're looking at right about a 4 3/4 handle as I see it. Blade length is going to come out to about 3 3/4. Cutting edge is going to be right about 3.5. And then your grip length, which is always important to me, you're going to get a lot of grip length on this one. You're looking at almost 4 1/4 inches. As you can see there, I have a lot of room left over. But it is super comfy. We've got a nice swell there in the handle. And we'll definitely talk about that swell, because that was a thing that was kind of, the swell in combination with a flipper tab was kind of turning me off of the scaphoid. Not the case with the Caladan. Really, really nice. I like the way it fits in my hand. So, give you some size comparisons here, of course. There is your PM2. So it's going to be, you know, just a little bit longer than the PM2. 1/8 of an inch on the blade, about that on the handle as well, maybe overall 1/2 inch. And then, of course, if that's the case, it's going to be much longer than our bug out. Much bigger than the bug out in overall, pretty much everything. Oh yeah, that's nice. I like that action. It's a dropper initially. We'll look at it again. But so 141 grams. We've got a little weight behind it. 5 ounces. Didn't, you know, it didn't really seem like a little heavier knife. It carried pretty well. You've got your clip there, which goes into the pocket. I was kind of worried, you know, with the Frag Pattern and that pocket clip. Not bad. Not bad at all. It slides in your pocket pretty well. The one thing I did notice too, and we'll talk about it later, is it felt like this was like sticking up, protruding away from the pocket more than some I have seen in the past. Good retention, as you saw. You've got a nice pop coming out of the pocket. So I want you guys to look at something. I think it's an optical illusion, because sometimes when I look at it from this side, it almost looks like the pocket clip has a little bit of a dip in it. Whether that's the case or not, because when I look at it from this side, I don't really see that. So I think it's an optical illusion, but it does look like your pocket clip is angled up. Now, if you will look, there's not a lot of room underneath that clip. And if you've got a wide seam on your pocket, I think that helps it angle up and stick away from the pocket. So that does, unfortunately, aid in it potentially hanging up on things. I really noticed that when I was wearing it. And when I reached down and grabbed it, it just felt like that pocket clip, you know, was protruding out or up, you know, away from the pocket more than I would really want it to. But that's just something else I noticed. Those were the two major things I noticed with the Caladan, is the pocket clip and the way it just kind of sat in the pocket, and then these edges on the relief. Now, in saying that about the edges of the relief, about the only way you feel it is if you're feeling it. You know, there's been a couple of times where I've grabbed it and picked it up like this, and my finger has hit it, and I'm like, yeah, that's just not good. Now, in my grip, not an issue remotely whatsoever. I do not feel it in the grip. So as far as using the knife, I don't feel the pocket clip either, because it's set so low. So that's nice. But as far as the ergonomics of use, there is not even remotely an issue with the two things I pointed out, the pocket clip poking up or these sharp edges. But if you just happen to drop your finger down there, you'll notice it. I'm pretty much guaranteeing you'll notice it. Now, this is on the Frag Pattern, of course, and there are several different versions of this knife. The fat carbon or camel carbons, I'll leave a link down in the description. About the only place I could find them, they're kind of sold out on the Tuya site. There's really only a couple left, but White Mountain Knives does have several of these and several different versions, which is cool because a lot of our good friends have coupon codes to White Mountain Knives. I personally don't, just never have gotten one, but a lot of your friends see your favorite YouTuber, whatever. If you're looking at the Caladan, hey, just remember, check out White Mountain Knives and use one of your favorite YouTubers coupon codes when you're checking out. They're running $280, $290, right about in there is where they're running. But overall, I love the ergos in hand, in use. Yes, without a doubt, it's not even an issue. The overall look of the knife, oh, where the scaphoid, you know, I was kind of like, pretty much all the way through. Not with this, and I love the design of this knife. Absolutely, 100%. The other thing that I was talking about with the scaphoid is the way the flipper tab came down when you opened it and rested here. Obviously, you're covered up with the way your flipper is right here. That between the swell in the handle and that flipper tab just made it really uncomfortable for me. You know, it just did. I did not like the ergos of that knife at all. It's just the way it is. Not the case with the Caladan. The Caladan, absolutely love the way it feels in hand. Like I said, the two issues I pointed out have nothing to do with ergonomics whatsoever. It feels fantastic in hand. The design is good. You know, I guess if I was going to get one, would I go with the Frag Pattern? Probably not. I would probably go with one of the other versions, just because, like I said, the Frag Pattern's not really anything I've ever sought out. I like the way it looks on the Caladan. Absolutely. Probably not the one I would pick. So that probably would not be an issue for me. If it were, I mean, you could probably buff it down a bit and take some of that sharpness out. For me, that should be done at the factory. I shouldn't have to do it. You know what I mean? I mean, call it what you will, but that's just the way I look at it. It has a completely different outlook than the scaphoid did. I am much, much happier with the Caladan, another skeleton blade works design with Tuya knives. Absolutely 100%. I'm on board with it. This one, what I said, the scaphoid didn't make the cut. The Caladan, it makes the cut, without a doubt. So, really, really appreciate, this is an Apex knife. Really, really appreciate Tuya. Dave Warren, awesome dude. Really, really appreciate him sending it out to the Apex Pass Around group. And of course, always got to thank David, our good friend, Blade Banner, for running the group and keeping things moving. Always appreciate him as well. And you know, I greatly appreciate you guys stopping by and taking a look with me. Until next time, guys, like, subscribe, leave me that comment. You know I love talking to you. I'll talk to you later, guys. Bye-bye.